you've already mentioned that you guys are growing quite fast than you thought. So what's the biggest challenge that you guys face?
The biggest challenge for pet nutrition is inconsistency. If you make a food that today looks like this with such and such characteristics and tomorrow looks different and the characteristics are different. We have a system where we don't only try to avoid some ingredients, we don't use them. And the ones we use, we source from the same suppliers consistently, time over time over time. So we build a very good understanding of the level of variability that we can expect from each ingredient, and our recipes don't change. Time and time again, we get contacted by people and they ask, are you changing the recipe, or has the recipe changed? Or it's really a very, very strong principle of Amigo Pet Food. We don't change the recipe because consistency is key, and there's enough variability in each ingredient. If on top of this we were playing with the recipe all the time, and unfortunately it is something that is quite frequent, I assume, because that's what people ask all the time. Because one day they see a bag of dog food and it looks like light brown. The next day it looks blue or red, or
and the color of the kibbles.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the nature of the pet food industry. There's a lot of different factories making the same product. This goes around. The sources of each ingredient changes all the time, because today, if pork is cheaper, some pet food companies are going to use pork. If tomorrow beef is cheaper, they're going to use beef. That changes, that creates variability. We don't do that. First of all, to preserve trust and consistency is very important.
True.
Okay? But also, it's making our lives a lot easier, because we don't have to worry about changing things. It's just cast in stone. So the recipe we don't change. And everything around, we must gear towards consistency. Meaning, how we set our machines, how we process everything. In principle, if your input is consistent, your settings are fixed, then your output is very predictable. It's no different than when you make food at home. I'm coming from a culture where food is everything. It's not a joke. Family meals at my grandparents when I was a kid. The first half of the meal was debating how good the food is, and the second half of the meal is debating what's going to be made the next weekend. and what is we all have our favorite dish, our favorite recipes. You know, if I ask you what is your favorite dish, if I ask you what is your favorite dish, most probably it's going to be something that's coming from a family. Your grandma used to make that, or your mom used to make that, or your dad, or whoever was cooking. Same for me. What is making this dish special? You're going to write the recipe for me, and I'm going to make it at home tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is it going to taste the same?
No.
Yeah. So what's different?
The person who's making it, no?
Yeah. But
Technique.
yeah. So it's a combination of a few things. Okay, I'll give you my opinion. Maybe you may differ, but the person that's making it, what is the process? That person, your grandma or your mom, she's going to go and get the ingredients that she wants from the place that she wants. Does she go around and what is your favorite dish? Let's take a practical example. Sap.
Yeah.
So what ingredients would be used?
So it's beans. What's the other thing?
Corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a source of protein?
Let's say samp with beef.
Okay, so
Yeah.
beef.
Yeah.
So your mom wants to buy beef to make sap. Is she going to go and do a tender to 10 different butcheries and buy the cheapest she can get?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, she won't. I'll tell you she won't. She will go to the same place that she always buys from, because she knows the price and the quality is what she wants. Doesn't mean that she's going to buy the most expensive, Doesn't mean that she's going to buy the cheapest, but she's going to buy something that is exactly what she wants in terms of quality and price. Okay, everybody has a budget, so that's important. She's going to do this for every ingredient. Okay, and there's consistency in this. So the selection of ingredients is key. The selection of suppliers, it's the butchery. For us, it's different suppliers is key, because when you go and you organize a family event, if it's a marriage or if it's a family celebration, you make it a little bit special. You go and get the ingredients from the place that you know is going to allow you to make that dish 200% of what it's worth in terms of quality. Then that's the first aspect. It's the same for pet food, except that we want it to be Christmas every day. The second aspect is the recipe, and your mom can write for me what needs to be done. I can promise you, the first time I make it, it's not going to taste anywhere near to what because there's a level of mastery in doing the same things over and over and over. And when it comes to cooking, it's very true that you cannot just transcribe into instructions. So you need to learn how to make it, and practice makes perfect.
True.
So if you practice, but you change the parameters all the time, you don't learn as well as if all the other parameters are fixed, right? It's the same with pet food. So predictable, controlled input, fixed settings, it leads to predictable output, which is the quality of the food. So that's consistency is our biggest challenge. With the ingredients, with the process, with the people, with everything around it. It's really what we all trying to aim for. Yeah, it's really.
So that's like using different measurements, but still expecting the same result.
Yes, exactly, exactly, yeah. Exactly, and it's there's a level of experience and control that is just intangible. You can't measure it. You can't measure what your mom is doing right to make that dish for you from a scale from 1 to 10. You know, it's like because she's done it 100 times, or and we all have some recipes that we prefer and we like to make and we like to eat. And the secret is the consistency and the quality of what is done. And you know, if we talk about quality of protein, we can talk about digestibility, we can measure. We can talk about amino acid breakdown, we can measure. We can talk about amount of protein, we can measure. But there's a level of intangible parameters that is important in what we make, and it's because it's food.
Is there something that you guys use to see if this is really good quality, or is it because of the relationship that you've built with the companies that you order from?
So relationships are great, but eventually the responsibility is ours. So what I mean is, no matter how much trust I have in our suppliers, we need to control ourselves.
Okay.
So every incoming batch of raw materials, we do more than 50 analysis. We analyze more than 50 criteria. So we really zoom in a lot onto what is the makeup of this ingredient from a chemical perspective, from a composition perspective. And we keep all this data, we accumulate this data so that eventually we have an idea of the trend overall. Because each sample, each batch is only 1 point in the graph, but what you want is you want a population of points eventually to say, okay, this is going up, or this is going down, or this is stable, or whatever the case is, on all these parameters. So that's incoming. Then during the manufacturing process, we measure, we've got 6 sampling points throughout the process where we measure. Again, it's not different to when you're home cooking. What do you do when you're home cooking? You go and select your product, your ingredients, you weigh them, and then you taste. You taste through, it needs a little bit of salt. So it's not quite like this. we don't taste and add salt or this. But what we do is we sample, we measure specific parameters that are important for this point of the process to make sure the cooking is right, not under, not over, make sure that the product preservation capabilities are not compromised. And we monitor this and we adjust the settings a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit like when you're driving. Even if you're driving on the highway, you're steering a little bit left, you're steering a little bit right to make sure that you stay within the lines. Okay? So same way. And then at the end, everything that's being produced, we test systematically for what we call proximate analysis. So moisture, protein, fat, fiber, ash content, the total mineral content. And then we also test for contaminants as well, for mycotoxins particularly, and for bacterial contamination. So we test for Salmonella systematically. We test for something that's called Enterobacteriaceae, it's a family of bacteria in which E. coli would fall, for instance. So E. coli, it's a fecal bacteria. In other words, it comes from fecal matter. It's not wanted in food. For bacteria, food is food as well. They have the potential to grow on this. Our process includes heat, includes moisture. So it's perfect environment for bacteria to grow. You need food, heat, and moisture for bacteria to grow. So we need to control this so that we have a safe and consistent product at the end.
And there's a lot of research, obviously, that comes in your pre-production and your post-production, as you've mentioned. Do you guys work with vets and pet nutritionists in these quality checking or?
So when you develop a product, the 99% of the effort in terms of R&D is pre-launch. So you develop your recipes, and I work with other nutritionists because it's important to have to confront yourself with other ways of thinking, other opinions, because that's when progress is the best. We don't work with vets for formulation or for nutrition because vets are not nutritionists. The same way that if you ask me about dog disease, you're asking the wrong person. So I'm not a vet, but it's also important to understand that a vet is not a nutritionist. Usually they know very little about nutrition, and they also have very little interest in nutrition in general. That's my experience. Having said that, when we talk about the health of dogs, it's very important that nutritionists and vets work together because both aspects of those sciences are complementary when it comes to health. So that's the way we work to develop product.
When a person is transitioning from different diets or different brand to another brand, what is the best practice with regards to that?
So what's important to understand, you've noticed now, I don't make short-winded answers. Brace yourself. What is important to understand is that the nature of the change is the problem, or the challenge, let's say.
Okay.
It's not, am I changing for something better or for something worse? The change is a change. The change is a stressor because your dog or your cat is used to certain recipes, and a dog or a cat eats the same food more or less every day in big quantities versus their body weight for sometimes years at a time. So their system, and particularly the digestive system and their microbiota, has adapted to this. When you change the food, there's a shift in the microbiota because the food determines to a large extent the type and numbers of the different population of microbes that are living in the gut microbes. If that change is sudden, those microbes, they don't adapt very subtly to changes. Some population would perish, some population would thrive, and potentially it can cause digestive upset. Okay. So the reason why you want the change to be progressive is not because you're changing to something worse or to something better. It's just because you're making a change. And it's for the microbes of the digestive tract to adapt, for the dogs to adapt. And usually a week is enough for this adaptation. So the longer the better, but usually people finish their bag of food. So what we recommend is simply to progressively mix in the new food and progressively mix out the old food.
Okay.
So you start with a 20% increment or 25% increment. So you do 1 quarter the new food, 3 quarters the old food for 2 days. Then you change to half for 2 days. Then you change to 3 quarters, 1 quarter, and then you fully onto the new food. So that lasts, let's say, 6 days.
So I also read somewhere, or I was told that when you transition a cat, it's a longer period compared to dogs. Is that true?
Cats, they're very difficult to transition because they're not, they are the boss.
Yes.
That's how you do it.
It's, in my experience, very difficult to transition a cat. So you want to do the same, progressively switch over to the new food. But cats have, from a sensory perspective, they are able to detect differences between kibbles a lot more than a dog. Maybe because they taste better. Dogs don't taste very well. They smell very well, but they don't taste very well. So once the kibbles are in the mouth, they eat it. Cats, if you observe cats when they're eating, sometimes they take kibble and they spit it out again. Because they're able to detect that this kibble is not exactly the same as the one they actually like. So at the end, on the same food, at the bottom of the bowl, sometimes they leave some kibbles. It's the kibbles that were in the meal that they didn't like so much. And for you and I, they just look the same. So imagine now you're mixing another variety of kibble and you want to make a transition. Some of the cats, they will just pick out the kibbles that they want to eat. And number one, so it's difficult to make a transition because if you switch them into Amigo Confidence Cat, for instance, and they decide that's the only one they want to eat, they will not touch the others anymore. And number two, they will starve themselves to death. So a dog, if you insist a little bit, eventually the dog's going to eat. But a cat is going to refuse to eat the food that it doesn't want to eat and potentially putting his life in danger, which is not what we want. So it's very difficult to transition a cat in general. Yeah.
So maybe 14 days would do. Considering dogs,
yeah,
you say 7 days.
I don't think you need longer for a cat. If the cat is managing to eat everything, I think a week is enough.
Okay.
But in most cases, they just decide what they want to do, and it's very difficult to predict. From one cat to the next, they differ.
Each pet is different.
And they also, from one day to the next, the same cat may differ. So he might love the food, and the next day he doesn't want to touch it anymore, and you don't understand why.
Yeah.
It's difficult to predict. Yeah.
Do you feel as they age, they get more fussier? Pets in general, not just cats.
They're not fussier. So as they age, first of all, their capabilities of digesting food decreases. Okay? From an anatomic perspective, the digestive tract loses contact surface. So the way the digestive tract operates is it needs a certain amount of surface in order to absorb nutrients. So it's achieved by having those folds that are at the couple of centimeters and a couple of millimeters folding over each other. So over the length of the digestive tract, actually you have a huge amount of contact surface. It's about half a tennis court for a large size dog. If you were to, sorry, it's a little bit of a gruesome image, but if you were to measure the surface area of the digestive tract, it would be the equivalent of half a tennis court for a dog. So it's massive, really.
Sure.
And that's the efficacy of nutrition, digestion. So with age, that surface reduces, so digestion becomes less and less efficient. So it's very important to understand. And with age, teeth and gums also become a problem. So some dogs lose their teeth, some cats lose their teeth, some have gum disease. It's quite interesting that dogs have the same issues as us as humans. With time, we lose our teeth, and the health of our gums decrease as well. Dogs and cats experience the same, and therefore they can become more sensitive to bigger kibbles, for instance, because chewing a bigger kibble is, if the teeth are sore, is less comfortable than smaller kibbles. So, in that sense, they become more fussy.
No,
And the last thing is appetite tends to decrease with age as well. Yeah.
Okay. So while we're still talking about dental, I saw you guys also do like a dental, is it dental range? Is it kibbles or is it like something that they can use like a rinse or something you can put on the water?
So we import from France a range of specialized health and grooming products. And it's a range of products called Francolex. And one of the lines are specialized in dental health, mouth oral health in general. So the teeth, but also the gums. And there's an additive, I think that's a supplement. That's what you're thinking about, which is something that you add to the drinking water.
Okay.
And it's a little bit like a mouthwash for dogs, except that for them it's completely tasteless, and also they don't need to spit out the product, so they can drink it, and there are compounds based on pomegranate that help with the plaque, with the health of the gums, to control the bacterial load in the mouth as well.
And also you were speaking about large breed dogs. I know mainly, especially when it comes to joints, you need to look out for glucosamine, chondroitin. Are there any special ingredients that they also need to check when they're buying, especially for large breed dogs, considering puppies as well, to promote a healthy growth so that they don't grow faster? Is there like a special, is it ingredients or supplements that they need to check out for?
Yes. Having said that, I don't think it has to be specific for large breeds. It's something that's also good for smaller breeds. I'll give you an example. A Dachshund, for instance, is a very small dog, but his joints are very sensitive because of the length of the spine and because of the anatomy of the Dachshund. They tend to be very sensitive to joint health when they're aging. So joint health is just the same as everything else that I mentioned about nutrition. First is the baseline. If you eat hamburgers every day and you think that because you take a couple of vitamin pills in the evening, you're fixing your diet, you're wrong. And it's the same with pets. If you take glucosamine and chondroitin supplements, it's essentially puzzle pieces of cartilage that dogs can absorb and use to make their own cartilage again at a more efficient rate. So cartilage needs to be maintained, rebuilt every day. So if you supply these supplements to dogs on a daily basis, but the baseline is wrong, the baseline is pro-oxidative, the baseline is unhealthy as such, the supplements, they're not going to do the cut, not only. So glucosamine and chondroitin are important for joint health, but also antioxidants and anti-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory compound. I'm not saying you must pop an anti-inflammatory pill to your dog diet every day, but there are ingredients that have anti-inflammatory functionalities and capabilities, and when you include them into the diet, they contribute to the quality of that baseline. And therefore, when you add supplements like glucosamine and chondroitin, then you get the full benefit out of them. To name a few: ostrich oil, anti-inflammatory, antioxidative; sorghum, anti-inflammatory, antioxidative. We also use a little bit of alfalfa, which is a plant that contains a compound called polypectin, which is essentially between a sugar and a fiber from a chemical perspective and has very strong anti-inflammatory properties. So all of this combined means that the baseline is healthy, and supplements can play a bigger part. So for joints, for sure, the supplements are important. You also get there's a lot of options. I'm sure you've heard of green lip mussels. Okay, so it's crustacean mussels that are very rich in omega-3s. So they are very anti-inflammatory, a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. So they're very good for the health of joints. fish oil, also a very, very good anti-inflammatory. Yeah, it's it's important to, for me, it's always better to feed, if you want to top up the diet of your dog with something, first of all, it must only be in certain proportions, otherwise you create an imbalance. You're adding something, but you dilute something else. And also to use a supplement that is as little processed as possible. I'll give you an example. If you want to supplement the diet of your dog with omega-3s, it's better to feed sardines or pilchard than to go and buy an omega-3 supplement from a pharmacy that's going to be coming in a pill and is essentially the same going through 3 times around the world and 10 different factories and the same applies for so collagen is a big hype at the moment.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to eat collagen, so everybody wants to feed their dogs collagen. So it's important to understand, to break it down. You know, why do we want to feed our dogs collagen? Okay, what is the importance of collagen? So collagen is a protein. Where do we find it? In bones. It's a protein that is very elastic. So it's got physical properties that are bouncy, elastic. You know? And why is it in bones? Because bones, for all species, needs to be rigid enough and flexible enough because of physical constraints. When a chicken runs, the physical constraint on chicken bones are such that if there wasn't a protein component, the collagen component, it would shatter like glass. If it was only minerals. So bones are basically calcium and phosphorus, which are minerals, very hard but very brittle, and collagen, which is protein, which gives the bone flexibility. So just to illustrate this, an experience that you can do at home tonight, you take a chicken bone, you put it in a glass of white vinegar overnight or a couple of days, and then you take it out. After a couple of days, it will have exactly the same shape, but the vinegar acids have dissolved all the mineral content, so it will only be left with the protein content, the collagen content. You will see it will be all rubbery. It will be the same shape, but super rubbery, versus initially it was hard. Okay? That's the collagen content. So that collagen in the bones, in the skin, in the organs, in the fascia, which is essentially all the envelopes keeping everything together inside the body of dogs and our bodies as well. All of this is made of collagen. Okay, so I think I don't want to throw a random figure, but our bodies and dogs' bodies in terms of collagen is a huge, very high percentage of the total composition. So it's very important for dogs to be able to produce their own collagen to stay, to keep tone in their body, in their muscles, to keep their skin supple, etc., etc. So the easiest way for a dog to make collagen is to eat collagen or eat proteins that resemble collagen, so that digestion takes place, and then those amino acids are put back together by the dogs. But what is the easiest way to feed collagen to your dog? It's not to buy a powder that's collagen powder, because this powder has been made out of animals' cartilage. So somewhere on a farm, there's animals that are being grown. When they go through the abattoir, the bone, the joints of bovine or cattle, the joints of chicken, they are not so attractive for people to eat. They end up in being sent to a factory at the other side of the world, being dehydrated, turned into a powder form, and then they come back to us in South Africa, and then we give that to our dogs. If you feed cattle knees or chicken feet to your dogs, the reality is you feed the exact same quality and quantity of collagen than in a teaspoon of that powder that's been around the world a couple of times, and you save yourself the cost of the whole processing chain. And the dogs will love it. They love a lot more chicken foot than a powder, for sure. People, when I say this, people look at me like, are you crazy? My dog is going to die if I eat a chicken foot. You must try. They love it. They love it, and it's, in terms of glucosamine and chondroitin content, it is more than a kilo of the dog food with the highest glucosamine and chondroitin content. So it's an excellent supplement and costs nothing.
But then doesn't that, the risk of them actually, the bones, there's no risk for chicken feet?
So those bones, they're very supple because they, imagine a chicken foot needs to be adapting to the constraints of the terrain all the time. So they're not very, so they contain a lot of protein, and the dog's going to break it down. It's not going to swallow the whole chicken food. It's going to break it down. Even the nails. The nails, it's protein. It's keratin. They get digested and dissolved 100%. So if you have a very small dog, you can chop it up a little bit if you want, but I'll give my dog a whole foot and he thinks it's heaven.
That's interesting. It means we have a lot of protein in our bodies and collagen.
Yeah, exactly. Carry on. That's an excellent source of collagen for people as well. Yeah. And I can guarantee you, it's a lot cheaper than half a kilo of collagen.
Collagen is expensive now, hey?
Yeah, half a kilo of collagen is like 500 rand, 600 rands, easy.
And now with the hype, it's like
yeah. So there's different product, there's different level of refining and different type of collagen and so on. So you can really go into something elaborate. But essentially, chicken foot is
the way to go.
Yeah. Well, it's a much more affordable way. Yeah. Because of you cut out all the expensive transport and process all this. So the collagen that you find usually in a pharmacy or on the shelves, I saw some yesterday in a supermarket. So it's really something that is present everywhere now. The source, the origin is bovine. So it's cattle knees, cattle joints that are turned into collagen powder.
Okay.
But essentially it comes from bones.
And in terms of, I know earlier you mentioned that it's so important to feed puppies puppy food so that you don't make the growth process much faster, which can damage them. What would you say is the importance of a senior diet?
Senior diet is very important. It's very important because dogs are, they change life stage very fast. You got a puppy and then you think it's a baby and 6 months later it's a grown-up dog. You know? Compared to our own speed of development as humans, it's a lot longer.
Yeah.
A human, because he's an adult, maybe 20, 22 years old. 22 years, where a dog is 2 years, dog is adult. You know? So it's 10 times faster. And they also evolve into senior dogs, older dogs at the same speed. We don't always see it, but it's important to prevent it. Prevention is better than cure. Yeah. And nutrition is all about prevention. So the more you anticipate your dog entering the phase where he's actually started aging and he needs a different type of support, more immune support, more digestive support than before, the better it is, the better he will age. Joints are also something that can evolve with dogs at a very fast pace. And when you see the first symptoms of joint pain, it's a little bit too late already. So it's very important to understand giant breeds from 6 years old, they need to be on a senior food. Large breed from 7 years old, they need to be on senior food. And smaller breeds, you can wait a bit longer, maybe 8 years old, but there's no too early to start on senior. Our senior range of foods also includes some safety features that we don't have in an adult. And sometimes we put a dog that's 4 or 5 years old onto senior food because the scenario requires it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong about switching a dog to senior a bit earlier. But most people do that too late. and then it's complicated. Yeah. It's difficult to reverse.
The effects.
Yeah.
So my take home is it's much more important to accommodate your mature dog than your adult dog. It's safer to feed your adult dog senior food than giving your senior dog adult food.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So I know you guys manufacture in Cape Town. Do you have pet stores that sell Amigo around here in Durban?
Yeah, so we manufacture in Moso
Or in
Bay.
KZN in general?
We produce in Moso Bay. That's where our factory is. And then we have shops selling our food everywhere in the country, including in KZN. So it's actually our fastest growing province in terms of sales.
That's nice.
We've got somebody who's very driven and very energetic, who started with us in September last year and has developed the sales in the province to a huge extent. And it's quite easy to find our food in KZN now, throughout Durban, on the coast as well. And then we also work with online merchants. So it's easy to order online from anywhere in the country, basically. On our website, there's a store locator. So if you log into amigopetfood.com and you go to the store locator, you will find a shop that's nearby where you stay, whether in KZN, Cape Town, Bloemfontein, everywhere.
And how do people know which Amigo Pet Food to go on?
So it's a good question. Usually the staff in the pet shop is well trained and educated, so they can answer those questions. Otherwise, they can contact us on social media. So everybody knows now it's going to be me answering.
Yeah.
No, not always.
Yeah.
Not always.
Not every time.
We easy to reach. We're quite reactive in terms of helping people to make the right decision. It depends on what is the background of the pet, what food is being on, what is the budget, what are the potential problems, etc. So it's a custom advice that's really depending on the pet.
Before we wrap, if there's one thing you would tell pet parents out there regarding pet nutrition, like one hill that you're willing to die on, what is that one thing?
Engage with your pet food company or your pet food supplier as a company, as people who know nutrition, who are specialized in nutrition. And I think it's very important to create that culture where it's okay to ask what is in the food. It's okay to ask as the food is made. If you go to a restaurant, just imagine, if you go to a restaurant and you sit down and the waiters brings the menu, and let's say you've ordered your drinks already, you look at the menu and you ask the waiter, can I see the kitchen? And the waiter says, sorry sir, not today. It's going to be, we need to do this or that, or maybe tomorrow we can. How are you going to feel about ordering food on that same day?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Can be skeptical.
Yes, exactly.
What
so
are they hiding?
why do you accept this from a pet food company? If they're not transparent, if they're not willing to engage about what is in the pet food, then what is it that they have to hide? Because if it's something that you're proud of, if it's something that you can argue in the favor of, and something that you can explain in detail, you should be proud of it and you should share everything. So it's very important to understand that the relationship between the pet parents and the pet food manufacturer should be at the initiative of the pet parents and not only at the initiative of the pet food companies that are bombarding everybody with adverts and publication about how excellent what they're doing is. You know? So not everybody has an interest, not everybody has the time to do this, but it's important. We're saying that pets are our children. We want to know what we're putting into our children's bodies. We want to know what we're putting into our bodies. We want to know what we put into our pets' bodies. And I think it's very important to approach this with that mindset, because the culture of transparency is essential with food nowadays. it's very important. Yeah.
I think that's fair. So for someone who would want to learn more about Amigo Pet Food, which social media pages can they find you guys, or do you have YouTube pages that they can also go to learn more about Amigo? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one who feel like we haven't covered everything. We still need you to come and have more conversations. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. So where can they actually find you guys?
So besides our traditional web page, which is reachable on www.amigopetfood.com. We also have a Facebook page, of course, Amigo Pet Food, and Instagram, Amigo Pet Food as well. These are the easiest way to reach us. So overall, I think if you Google or if you search in your favorite social media, Amigo Pet Food, you'll come to us quite easily in South Africa.
I think that's about it today, guys. This is very educational.
Super.
This is super educational, but I feel like we are still going to have Romain to explore more, because I feel like we still need to have a conversation where we can go deep into each specifics that you've mentioned. But that's about it today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do like, follow, subscribe, and do go check the Amigo Pet Food websites and their social media pages. That's a wrap from us. Thank you.